Good afternoon. This is my Apocalypse Deserter. This is in reference to the end battle in the Book of Ether. I have a theory that most of the Lamanites, if not every single one of the Lamanites, are part of this original Jaredite country. The Jaredite country collapses in this time in the Book of Ether. On my timeline, this is roughly soon after Mosiah reaches Zarahemla. No. Soon after Mosiah leaves leaves the land of Nephi. So he leaves the land of Nephi, and he hasn't reached Zarahemla yet. And the reason I have that is that the fall of Nephi, or the land of Nephi, has something to do with Coriantumr and Shiz's last battle. And when the Book of Ether says that they're calling in all armies to go and fight, the land of Nephi was in their way. That's the idea. This is again a 2-mana value and a dual color creature. He is a blue or a black. My future Lamanites are going to be mostly blue. He's black, not necessarily because of evil in this depiction, but because he is a surviving warrior of most warriors who survive terrible conflict have PTSD. Doesn't make them bad, it just means that they're basically badasses. So he's a badass, he's blue, and he lives samurai, and I believe if this ever did happen, anything like this, his ancestors would become the Lamanite forces that eventually march in and take the land of Nephi from Limhi in the future. So he's depicted here as a young man. He has prowess and Bushido 2, which is very good for a common. And I realize why I make these so good. These are legendary creatures. He is a legendary creature samurai, common because during this battle there would have been millions of these soldiers. And in this depiction, there were deserters and there were those who survived, which is actually, in my opinion, would have been the good call for any one of these warriors to make. The idea is that there was a battle, they saw an opportunity to desert, and they took it. And then that way their line lives on. Anyone who didn't do that would have lost their life fighting for Coriantumr or Shiz to the very end. And we all saw that that was just a big waste of life. And when the night came, they were drunken with anger, even as a man who is drunken with wine, and they slept again upon their swords. So this is depicting that people are angry. The snow is a part of that pole shift theory. Their country is being covered in it, and he's going to leave. That's the idea. It's like a micro story that never really happened in the Book of Mormon. It is reading between the lines of a story that could have happened. Ether 1522. This is the very end chapter, and he's a 2/2 creature. Duke Shiz. This is one of my favorites. It's not the favorite. I showed you one of. I took it down. One of my very favorites is a white enchantment card. This one's very good though. It's Shiz. At the point now he is a duke. He's not the leader yet. He is 2 mana value and a black. Legendary creature, ninja, samurai, giant. He comes from the secret combinations. He has ninjutsu 1, very good. He has regeneration 1, which you don't ever really see this in black. That's pretty cool. He has skulk, good for the 1/6. And then he has this ability here, +1 Bushido, which is good with skulk. It doesn't buff his attack. He has to be blocked. So each time he would do this, it doesn't say until end of turn. So it looks like you could permanently buff his Bushido indefinitely to where if he was ever blocked, he'd be incredibly strong. But since he has Skulk, he might not ever be blocked. Anyone who would block him, though, it'd be funny if he gave him Trample somehow. So if he was blocked and gave him Trample and his Bushido was high, he might win the game. That'd be hilarious. Okay. And when he had come to the plains of Agash, he gave battle unto Lib, and he smote upon him until he died. Nevertheless, the brother of Lib, did come against Coriantumr in his stead thereof, and the battle became exceedingly sore, in the which Coriantumr fled again before the army of the brother of Lib. And the brother of Lib, we'll find out in the future, is Shiz. Lib is now the current king. He got there through unrighteous means, but he is the king, making Shiz a duke. And this is based off of kind of like that Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style art. Go to the next one. Burning Everything. 2 red. Legendary enchantment. Upkeep 1. Exert 1 red. Tap. Destroy target land. That's pretty good. This would have to be dealt with. If it was played late in the game, it might not be enough time for this to cause problems. If it was played early on, this could be very disruptive. The Exert mechanic is good. The upkeep and 1 mana to activate it is good. Basically, this is a destroy land for 2 mana every other turn. It's a legendary, so you can only have 1 of these in play. Yeah, this is good, and this is flavorful. We'll read what happens. Now the name of the brother of Lib was called Shiz. And it came to pass that Shiz pursued after Coriantumr, and he did overthrow many cities. And he did slay both women and children, and he did burn the cities. Now, this could be when the land of Nephi falls. I've been trying to pinpoint this on my timeline. I would say this has to be. So this is my theory that these guys are destroying cities as they go. This verse here would have to be linked to Mosiah. The last few verses in Omni, the first few verses in Mosiah, when Mosiah leaves the land of Nephi and it's sacked by the Lamanites. That's this. Nobody has ever told me this. There was a man on my mission 20 years ago who said that this was his theory, and I told him, no, you're wrong. The church doesn't say anything about this, and the church doesn't. But it doesn't mean that the church can't. And I think that this is correct. So this should be hyperlinked or footnoted to the fall of the land of Nephi and the Exodus of Mosiah. When I made this card, I didn't know that at the time. And when I started making Mosiah is when I realized that. Coriantumr Trump. I have Coriantumr to where he's blowing a trump. This is his trumpet. Legendary artifact, equipment. Equipped creature gains Battle Cry 2, and when it attacks, Bolster 2. It's really good. It's equipped 2. It's a very good trumpet. And they pitched their tents in the Valley of Korhor. These names. These names are also driving me to believe that the Lamanites, Jaredites, I'll just keep going. And Coriantumr pitched his tents in the Valley of Shur, Now in the valley of Shur was near the hill Connor. Wherefore Coriantumr did gather his armies together upon the hill, Comnor, and did sound a trump unto the armies of Shiz to invite them forth to battle. Honestly, I made this card and I forgot all about this. I don't remember any of this in the Book of Ether. I'm going to put this out here. I think that there's something on the Book of Ether that's a shroud on everyone's heads. They can't remember anything. And I think that's easily explained because of the amount of information condensed in such a small amount of space. So I think there's so much information on the Book of Ether that you can't remember these things. Repentant King. 1 colorless, 2 white. Legendary instance. Mythic rare. Pay 1 life to regenerate any number of creatures. Okay, so if you have a lot of creatures that get destroyed in battle, you can pay 1 life, pay this, and they can all become healed. And it came to pass that when Coriantumr had recovered from his wounds, he began to remember the words which Ether had spoken unto him. He saw that there had been slain by the sword already nearly 2 millions of his people, and he began to sorrow in his heart. And I think this is why, when he goes to the land of Zarahemla and meets King Zarahemla, and he tells him this story, King Zarahemla is willing to give up the kingdom to Mosiah, a very righteous prophet who comes there. Broken before battle. Legendary sorcery, a black or a green that has prophecy, which is a keyword that activates cards that have prophesy. You denote that with the C and the S. If you lost 2 or more creatures this turn, draw a card for each loss. Okay, so if you lost 2 creatures minimum, you get to draw 2 cards. And that's the activator. So if you if you lost, let's say you had 10 creatures you lost that turn, well, this card will let you draw 10 cards. He began to repent of the evil which he had done. He began to remember the words which had been spoken by the mouth of all the prophets, and he saw that they were fulfilled thus far every whit, and his soul mourned and refused to be comforted. The tragedy that follows in the last battle of Coriantumr versus Shiz, like I said before, there's a lot of valor, there's a lot of strength. The warriors that fought and died, it's an impressive story, but it's all for nothing because they all fall in this last conflict. And that's why I depicted deserters. They saw an opportunity and they left. I have other cards that do such things where it depicts people getting away before it's all over. And during this time, if my timeline's correct, the Nephites are able to flourish and grow strong again. And Limhi takes people... Sorry, it's not Limhi, it's Zenus. The scout Zenus goes back down to the land of Nephi later on. And the Lamanites are there, who I'm telling you that are Jaredites. And I think they're Jaredites of a more southern kingdom. And the Jaredites in this scene are the Jaredites of the northern kingdom. I think the Jaredites of the northern kingdom were the strongest of the two, or the stronger of the two. But when they fell here, the Nephites had a chance to really grow in population. And it isn't until the Book of Alma and all the battles they win during that time where the Nephites become the superpower, competing against the southern Lamanites. And then I think the northern Lamanites come back again towards the end. And at the last great battle, there's dissenters of the Nephites. And I think there's Lamanites who are now Nephites and the Nephites who are now Lamanites. So at the end, it's hard to say who was who. But that's what I have for now. Thanks for watching.